Now, let's just get into this next one because this is just the fact. Like, I get it, you want to have a fire feature prelim, but this was more
This
disrespectful than
shit
this
should
Drew
have been the
Bond.
fucking. This shit should have been where Means and Perry were. Means and Perry should have been here, and this fight
Yes,
should have been the feature on the main event.
duh. Like,
I
what
don't
in the
see
fuck
how,
was this?
bro.
The
Like you're talking
number one,
about.
like, not only like, dude, and like, all right, sorry, go ahead. There's
Well,
layers to
well,
this.
well. How much sense would this make? Is what I was going to say. Caitlin Chikagian fights Cynthia Calvillo 2 versus 4, 125 women's featherweight in the main card. Then if you jump to men's featherweight in the next fight, Brandon Moreno versus Royval 1 versus 6.
But they're
Okay,
flyweight.
then flyweight. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. 125. Either way, it's 125 across, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like Chikagian's 125.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you have the contending women's fight at 125. Then you have the contending men's fight at 125. Then you have the championship fights at both of those weights.
You
It
know
would have
what it
made
is?
all the sense on earth.
You know what it is? It's that old school stigma of like you can't have that many small guys on a card.
That's bullshit because these two dudes are so entertaining. These two
Not
dudes
the,
are so
but
entertaining.
that's what it was. That's what it was.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like what you said is completely correct for the UFC. Like from the way they look at it. But I'm just saying the way they look at it is
right,
dumb because I don't agree.
Now I'm about to go in on this. Moreno, not only should he have not been in the goddamn prelim, he should have been fighting for the belt.
Thank you. Why did Alex Perez get this shot? Why was Perez versus Royval not booked? And why was – you know why? I know why. DWCS. That's why. Dana White's Contender Series. That's horseshit.
Horseshit.
Yep. Dude, and I'm telling you.
Not feeling it. And you know what? And we'll get into this too. Remind me this. Actually, you won't need to, but we'll get into it because I don't want to essentially do a spoiler. But the UFC's actions essentially admit that mistake.
Yes.
Based on what they
we'll get into the fight
booking.
booking. We'll get into fight booking, but absolutely.
That's an admission of guilt, in my opinion. But
yeah, they pissed me off with this whole design of this card.
So Brandon Moreno, the #1 ranked flyweight contender. Yeah.
Assassin baby.
That correct.
You know what I mean?
Minus 180 favorite versus Brandon Raw Dog Royval. Plus
Love that nickname.
Oh, yeah, great nickname. The #6 ranked flyweight. And this was another one of my upset picks that I got to eat shit on. This one was a little more heart than brains. The Lipsky one, I actually tried to apply logic to. I talked myself into the Royval pick. And you know, out of all the upset picks, I did think it was one of the more cashable ones. But
yeah, I totally agree with you. This is one of the ones in my breakdown where I said no pick. Enjoy this fight. It's gonna be a war.
I stuck my neck out for Royval, and I obviously, I got to eat shit on it. But yeah, they're fighting at 125. And yeah, but man, god damn it, round 1 TKO, but there's kind of an asterisk by it.
I wrote on my notes ref stoppage. I didn't write TKO because I think that's disrespectful to Royval because he never quit fighting or defending. I mean, go ahead.
No. I agree with you, like my own personal opinions, but it goes down in the record books as a TKO.
I know.
They didn't put that as a yeah. So, but no, I'm actually really glad you made that point for sure. I like just man to man, I agree with you.
Okay, yeah. Sick.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, because I mean, don't get me wrong, Moreno was winning that fight pretty much. I'd see this is where I don't want to necessarily die on that hill because I think Moreno is going to win that fight regardless of the stoppage or he was dominating, man. I mean,
I want to say yes and no, but Royval.
It was so early.
Yeah, and his jiu-jitsu so good.
You're right.
He was putting Moreno in some scary positions where Moreno was just tougher and is such a good wrestler that he could wrestle through the position.
No, you're right.
But,
and that plays into my prediction.
Dangerous.
My prediction was and I even said this on my last episode of Dreadful Talk, my preview, when I made my spicy prediction of that Royval would get the upset. I said it would be by submission. So I actually told my bettors, or my listeners, to take it a step forward further. Don't bet Royval on the money line. Bet Royval by sub. And you'll get a much better number, and that's the only way he would win. So I wasn't necessarily that far off base. It just didn't go down like that. But But that was my logic behind it. So yeah, I guess it wasn't necessarily all heart. But yeah, I would have like. I am. There's just this thing about me, bro. It's like my flaw as a sports fan. Like I have this irrational rooting for the underdog always. Like if I
I'm
don't
with
have
it.
a dog in the fight, like I always like.
Oh yeah.
If I'm tuning into like a random Thursday night like ACC college football game that I don't give two fucks about, but I'm just drinking beer and want something to watch, like I'm always gonna pull for the upset. Like that's just in my blood. Like so.
And yeah, unless I have money riding, I'm always on the side of the dog.
Well, see, that's where I need to draw that line because I'd be like fucking letting that shit bleed over into my betting logic. So, but yeah, man. So I mean, Royval, his arm. So like, describe the finishing sequence. You're better at this than me. You describe kind of how it all went.
Yeah,
down.
so it looked like essentially nothing more than Moreno got like a cross wrist, so his left hand was holding Royval's right hand from the opposite side of his body and pulling the right arm across his body, right? That's nothing weird. They're kind of battling for position. And then I don't know if it was like whenever Royval tried to roll out because he was hip locked underneath, which also Moreno should have gone for a twister, and he almost tapped him with the twister, but he had a twister locked up for minutes and didn't ever go for it.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah. Rogan was going in on that. He was saying that he didn't think Moreno knew how to do a twister because if he did,
probably doesn't.
would have done it. Yeah,
I mean, that's an Eddie
it was
Bravo
wide
move.
open. Yeah.
But so essentially, Royval gets his hip over and rolls to his chest, right? Well, that's when Moreno gets the cross wrist, and then they're in some sort of weird scramble where Royval's trying to get himself back up to his knees, and he gets dropped back on his shoulder. And I'm pretty sure we got dropped back on it is whenever it popped it out and dislocated
his shoulder comes out of socket. Which at first, when I was watching it live, I thought it was his wrist. I thought
Me too, because he was holding his wrist, but that was to hold his arm in the same spot so it wasn't moving. And he's screaming in pain from the bottom. He's not defending any punches to his face. He's just rolling to not get punched in the face. And the ref calls the fight. Now, not a bad stoppage by the ref, but not a TKO either because that was a medical stoppage, right? Because Moreno gets off and is like celebrating, and Royval's just laying there screaming.
The only thing,
and there were 2 seconds left in the round.
That and just playing devil's advocate here, Moreno was dropping hammer fist that whole time. Well, you can't leave that part out of the story because that's the only thing that makes the stoppage make sense. Like I'm sure in the ref's like post fight report or whatever, he's gonna say he stopped it due to the hammer fist. But it's like the human nature of it, like. He knew he was in pain. Like that fight needed to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the human nature. The ref is a human being. He did what he thought was helping a dude out. But I also want to go into this because of the nature of the actual injury. Now that we actually have the facts, hindsight 2020. Like I said, the fight was stopped with like 2 seconds, quite literally remaining in the round, maybe even one, like right at the buzzer, right before it, and so. Conventional, like most people know, like if you dislocate, I've seen it happen on those sidelines of football games multiple times. You pop that motherfucker in and keep it pushing. And so I really think that if the ref would have let that round finish, I think they could have popped Royval's arm back in and he probably would have came back out for the next round, man. I really believe that's how it would have went down.
I've dislocated both these. You can see that one's a little misshapen on this side. But I've dislocated both these in football games and in a soccer game after that. Played the rest of the game. Like, no problem. That's a finger, so I could just tape it to another finger. The shoulder gives me a lot of worries down the line because, if you stretch those ligaments, I am of the mindset of, what happens if his shoulder pops out again in the second round?
Well, no, yeah.
Are you doing irreparable damage at that point? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, if I'm Royval's mom, you know what I'm saying, or his wife or whoever, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe even his coach.
I'm happy with how it went down, but like if I'm Royval, and especially how they popped it back in, and then by the time
did you see how his coach did that? By the way,
I didn't. I couldn't look.
It was the most. No, it was like so skilled. Like I've never seen someone do it that way. It was so legit. Like instead of sometimes you got to put like pressure on it, pull it out, and let it reset up and in. Right. He took his hand. So like imagine your hands like this, right? And he started twisting the thumb to where like the shoulder had to like pop back, and it was insane. Like he had his hand down on his side, and he starts rotating his wrist, and then you see his whole shoulder jump back in.
Well, yeah, and then I think it's fair to mention, like when Rogan was saying how the fact of how skillfully he did it, and how they kind of act like it was business as usual. Maybe that's been happening.
He's done it
training,
before. He's done it before.
which means that like the integrity of that joint is toast.
And that is what I was saying about who knows this doesn't happen in the second round and you start doing like real damage to your shoulder. So like
Yeah.
and Dana tweeted after the fight, I don't know if you saw it, that he's trying to get Royval back in 2 weeks on the December 12th card. That he's going to try and find him a fight. I don't think that's a good idea. Like Dana said, as soon as your medical suspension is cleared, like you're in a fight. I don't like that, man. If I'm a Royval,
Because is that Dana saying like he feels bad? He feels like
he feels like he got fucked. He literally tweeted, "What a shitty way to lose a fight. Don't worry about that. We'll get you back in there as soon as medical suspension's cleared."
I feel like that's kind of the wrong
It's the wrong
takeaway,
message. It's the wrong message.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I guess if Royval agrees with them, I guess that's all that really matters in the end. But as far as Moreno, man, that had to feel good after getting snubbed. Like not only snubbed from the championship shot, but snubbed from the main card.
Dude, he had a great mindset about it. Did you listen to his interview with Rogan afterward?
I did,
He
but
said-
go ahead and elaborate.
So essentially, he was like, Rogan was like, "Do you feel slighted by being the number one contender and like not getting to fight for the belt that's being fought for later tonight?" And Moreno was essentially looked at him and was like, "I don't need a belt. Fuck the belt. I just got to be
That's
the best."
right.
He's
That's
like,
right.
he's like,
That's what he
regardless,
said.
I'm gonna beat all these guys. I'm the best. And then he was imploring Rogan like, "Watch my next fight. Watch my next fight." And I was like, Rogan's gonna call your next fight, dumbass. Like he has to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember saying that. Yeah, man, but that's right. That's what you say when you're in that position. Right? I mean, that's making chicken salad out of chicken shit, right? Like he doesn't
True.
like. Of course, he wants the belt, but that's what you say whenever
Yeah.
you've been snubbed for the belt. But I